Welcome to week 113, count it, week 113 of Shark Sports Radio. Alongside of me is Andrew George. He goes by Ticket. It's yours truly, Mark Loisel Jr., a.k.a. Shark, right here in the Ocean State. Thank you all for taking a dive in the tank with us tonight. As always, you can tune in, use your Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and or Spotify app. Check us out on YouTube at the Shark Sports Radio channel, TikTok at Shark Sports Radio, and on X at SSR34_. Tonight, we are live here at Ravenous Brewing Company in Cumberland. Alongside of me is Justin. Justin, how are you?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Not bad. So how long you guys been here for?
We've been at this location since 2019. Altogether, we've been going since 2012.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, you guys have an awesome business, great beers. One of the best breweries in Rhode Island, if not the best. And
We got a bracket over
we got a bracket over
We got
here
the
to
bracket
prove
2
it.
years in a row, baby.
Yeah, I love
Champions.
I love it. What type of beer are you drinking right now?
I'm drinking the Pistolero. This is a Mexican lager.
There you go. I got the Moscow Mule. Take it.
I got the seltzer, which, trying to cut back and watch the figure as we head into beach season upon us. So,
Low carb, low carb.
yeah, exactly. But it's funny, when I went over and I was perusing the menu, what's the name of the other gentleman that's here?
It's Ryan.
Ryan, yeah. Ryan was like, what do you typically drink? And I'm like, I hate to say it, but seltzers. And he was like, you're going to love this one. And he wasn't wrong. This is really good. So
that's a good
you guys come down to Ravenous and check it out. Obviously, they got a wide selection of choices.
So Justin, as far as like events goes, like what do you guys usually do throughout the week, like planning wise?
Usually Thursday through Sunday, we've got food trucks here. A lot of people will book their parties here on Saturday and Sunday. We have a back room back there that is, always jamming. Sometimes it's completely booked and that door is closed. Other times, we got part of the room blocked up and, we're still jamming. We've got the machines going over there, the video games and all that, the pinball and whatnot. Once the summer comes, we got a beer garden out back. We got a lot of things going.
Yeah, you guys got sweet apparel too. I love the apparel.
Yeah.
Every
Get
year I
some
look
good
at that side, I'm like, what's next on the list?
I feel like it's a little skippy right now.
Yeah, it's all right.
Usually it's a little better.
It will get stacked as we go.
Yeah.
Speaking of stacks, so as far as what's on tap to come for spring, summer, what are you guys working on?
Oh, man. Always we've got the crowd favorites, the hazy IPAs, all that stuff. We've got another IPA we call the Beach Traffic. That's coming, every time it gets warm. We named it after, obviously, that Route 4.
Yep.
The famous ride down in Narragansett.
Yep.
Everybody hates it.
Everybody hates it.
But nothing quenches your thirst once you get to that beach like the Beach Traffic. Like, I love that beer. Other than that, we got a Strawberry Saison that's pretty popular with the crowd. There might even be other things I don't even know about yet.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. But
What's your go-to? What's your favorite?
oh, the Beach Traffic is fun.
Beach Traffic.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so.
You can swear. Yeah, we don't.
I totally slipped on it.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
You're fine. You can swear all you want. But no, as far as the events, right? March Madness is on, right? We got the Masters coming up.
For sure.
NBA Finals. It gets crowded here, right? So people got to come here very, very quickly in order to get a seat, right?
Especially, we've got plenty of TVs, but, the seating, you want to get the best seat in the house for each TV. So, we could have, PGA on one TV. I'm a big hockey guy. We could have hockey on another TV. March Madness is always a favorite right now. So, you want to get here as early as possible to claim your seat.
So who do you got in March Madness?
I'm probably the wrong guy to ask for that.
Pick a name.
I don't even really know who's in it right now,
Say Duke.
Yeah, we'll say Duke.
Yeah, we'll say Duke.
Yeah, Duke, North Carolina, you can't go wrong with either one of those, right?
Yeah.
That's the only bracket that matters, right?
That's the only one that matters, and that's the one we seem to take home every year. So
That's the only one.
That's the one that matters to me.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining.
All right. Thank you very much.
having us
Man.
here.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for coming on,
thank you.
Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
All right.
So, Ticket, we have some business to work on here. We got
We do.
March Madness continuing the bracket with the Sweet 16. The matchups are wild right now. As a side note, play Underdog Fantasy today. Use the promo code Shark Sports Radio. Get $1,000 in bonus cash. You are a Luka Doncic fan and Lakers fan as well.
You could say that again.
Yeah, we said that multiple times here on the podcast. But you can take advantage of a Luka Doncic discount for every Lakers game moving forward in the regular season. MLB season's kicking off tomorrow, so you can interchange the sports and have fun with it. So, again, as we mentioned, we're getting started with the Sweet 16 bracket. We got the South region to start. Auburn versus Michigan. Really good battle. As always, with the Sweet 16s, there's not a bad battle. So, as far as this game, who are you picking and why?
Yeah, I feel like the last few rounds, and by few rounds, I mean all of last weekend, I've been anti-Michigan. I just felt like they're the conference champion that gets hot in conference tournament week and then gets knocked out early. They got a scare late against UC San Diego, which was a team that I thought could make a run.
Yep.
And then the next round, I doubted them against Texas A&M, and then they shoved it up my ass when they went on a late rally.
Yep. They
so
always shove up your ass.
I feel like I can't go against Michigan.
Freaking Michigan.
Because the moment I switch and I take Michigan, they'll probably lose.
Yep.
So I'm going to go with Bruce Pearl and Auburn, although I'm not that confident, honestly, because Bruce Pearl, as we know, has had his struggles in March.
Yep.
This is a very talented Auburn team. They defend the perimeter well.
Yep.
I think Michigan, why they've gone this far is their bigs are very versatile. They pass the ball, they shoot the ball, they move the rock well. They're kind of like the new wave big men that we've seen in the NBA. They stretch five.
Yep. Victor Wembanyama, Jokic.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
So I think Auburn's bigs are athletic enough to defend that, and I like Auburn getting by Michigan.
Yeah, I like Auburn too. Here's the thing: Michigan for the entire year has been awfully defensively. Auburn has been putting up points as of late. A big key to that, has been their guard Tahad Pettiford. Pettiford dropped, I think it was 23 in that latest game. He can flat out score. You got Brune in the paint. He can absolutely solidify that paint, rebounding, blocking shots, finding a way to create havoc, in that painted area. So with Auburn, I wouldn't say it's chalk, right? Because
they are the 1 seed.
But they are the 1 seed. But Michigan has kind of had it easy. And if you look at it, they kind of just snuck by UCSD.
Yeah, that got tight late.
It got tight late, and then they came out firing in the second game, as we all know. But that's why I don't have faith in Michigan. I got faith in Bruce Pearl and that team and the way that they're built right now. They're going to be tough to beat. That's the team you got to look out for. Moving on, Michigan State versus Ole Miss. Who you got?
Well, for a half, Bryant gave Michigan State all they could handle. Shout out the Bryant Bulldogs as we're in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And
right down the street.
Yeah, right down the road in Smithfield, my alma mater. So shout out Bryant for, honestly, the refs screwed them. Otherwise, they would have, forget the 20-something points they ended up losing by. The refs screwed them. I'm going to take the Dan Hurley page and go, the refs screwed them. They fucked them.
Yeah.
But no, Michigan State, obviously,
Yep.
When it gets to March, Tom Izzo, we all know his reputation of at least getting to the Sweet 16. Ole Miss, obviously, having a great season. They blew the doors off UNC, then almost choked it late.
Yeah.
But for a while, they were up 24 in the second half against that UNC team. And then they were very dominant in the next round as well, taking care of business against Drake, which was everyone's kind of Cinderella darling.
They were.
I don't really love either of these programs, to be honest with you.
We can actually skip this one if you want.
Yeah.
With Tom Izzo, if you don't mind me jumping in.
No, go right ahead.
So Tom Izzo was good friends with my college coach, Charlie Brock, at Springfield College. And Izzo would walk around and check out the campus, check out the practices, see what's going on, see what's happening. And you could just see his basketball IQ and the way he built the Michigan State program as a tough, defensive-minded, get-in-your-face type of offense as well. Good screens, hard screens. So I believe that the tougher team will win here, and I think the toughest team right now is State. Fairs is playing really well. You got Akins as well, but I think a big key for me is the big guy, Cohen. Cohen Moore is a guy that has to be looked at in this game as the X factor. If he can somehow pull his strings and find a way to, knot it up and figure out what's going on with that team offensively and defensively, rebounding is going to be huge. That clutch bucket at the end, talk about clutch in your veins, right? That's huge. So I got to say Michigan State, it might be a closer one than what we think because State has been up and down throughout the entire year.
Jace Richardson struggled last game against New Mexico, and New Mexico for
bye Patino.
Yeah, well, both Patinos. But
bye Patino.
Yeah, and that's true. Richard Patino going on Xavier. Right? Yeah, so. Yeah, I mean, Michigan State, a lot of weapons. They're the deeper team.
Yes.
I think they get by Ole Miss in this one.
So let's move on to the next game. I think this might be the game of the tournament. It's the East region. It's the number 1 seed Duke versus the number 4 seed Arizona.
There was a one time where the Sweet 16 matchup led to a big upset as well, going back a few years with Derek Williams. I don't know if you remember.
Yep.
Derek Williams in Arizona.
Yep.
Who ended up
hell of an NBA prospect, by the way.
Minnesota
those mock drafters suck.
Minnesota Timberwolves had a lot of regrets with their drafts. And, other than Anthony Edwards, they might continue to.
Yeah, they will.
That's why they gave all their picks away to the Utah Jazz.
Yep. See you later.
Let the Jazz.
You can deal with the nonsense.
Yeah.
Although Utah kind of drafts well. Not bad.
Oh, we have a Jazz fan that's here in
attendance. Shout out to the Jazz fan.
Yeah, shout out to the one Jazz fan.
Love it.
In Rhode Island.
Thank you for being in attendance.
Yeah. But anyways, I mean, Arizona's got the angle too with Caleb Love, obviously the UNC transfer, so Duke knows him very well. Once again, I would love to pick the upset here with Arizona, but I don't.
Don't waste your time.
But John Shire was a part of that Duke team that felt that upset, and I think he's not going to be sleeping on Arizona.
Surge of vengeance.
I think Duke gets by them in this one.
Yeah, I without a doubt, Cooper Flagg is the consensus number 1 pick in this draft. Make no doubt about it. He is coming off an injury. We get it. He might have some limitations here and there with his flexibility and versatility in the front court. But I think what is going to stand out most with Duke is they have been there and done that with John Shire, as you mentioned. And they have a lot of good pieces around him. But make no doubt about it, if there's a team that can beat Duke, it's Arizona. You mentioned it, Caleb Love, Jaden Bradley, and they got Townsend, the big guy in the middle. So they can find a way to move the ball. I think what's going to come down to, and you probably agree with this, is pace of play. And it's also if Duke can if Arizona can keep possession of the ball, like turnover central Arizona is.
They're very turnover prone.
Yeah, so they got to find a way to keep that ball intact. And if they can make those decisions and make the right move, I can fully see Duke, having a little bit of a battle against Arizona, but make no doubt about it, number 1 seed Duke. Moving on, number 2 seed Alabama versus the shoot through the roof and hope that you get them in BYU. Holy smokes. Yeah. They love shooting the 3.
Yeah, they do. And honestly, it's going to play to their advantage against Alabama. Alabama, they want to play up and down. They like the fast tempo. I don't know what the total set in this game, but I like the higher than amount, the over amount. So that's something I would look for. If you're into that sort of thing, I don't know anyone who might, like that kind of action. Just throwing it out there.
Throw it out there.
I would be very interested.
All you degenerate gamblers like Ticket over here. Throw it out there. See what happens.
Just throwing it out there.
How much money have you lost recently?
So honestly, that opening day was tough, but we've made some strides.
We've made strides.
It's
all about coming back from the loss.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Great. March is a survive and advance for the team. Same thing for my bank account.
Correct.
Survive and advance.
Yep. Survive and advance. And
which is why Ravenous, by the way, great deals, great special. So even if you're not surviving, you can get
sit at the bar, drink your life away. Got it. No,
I was going to say just indulge in their
just
choices.
Indulge with the Bears. Got it. Yeah, we don't promote alcoholism here. So Alabama versus Duke. BYU. Why am I saying Duke? BYU.
You're jumping ahead to the next round.
Yes, I am. So BYU can flat out shoot the rock, as I mentioned, right? And we're talking about Richie Saunders. That guy shoots 43% for the season. He is in comparison to his numbers with Jimmer Fredette. Fredette shot through the roof during his time at BYU, and guess what? Richie Saunders is a guy that people have to look out for because he shot 75% from the field last game. This guy is money for the season. 43% from the 3.
Yeah, and Alabama's getting healthy too. Nelson's getting that time off to rest. Sears getting that time to rest. if I have to trust the team to advance in this one, it's a team that can get stops, and that's going to be Alabama and Nate Oates' squad.
Yeah, Alabama's nasty. But I think BYU will have to shoot lights out. But Alabama's a real good team. Let's see if it backfires, though, those threes. It's like Missoula ball, watching those guys shoot the three.
It is, but
they make it.
You live and die by it. Maybe they can live to see one more round.
You live and die. All right, so Midwest region, we're walking through the number one seed Houston versus Purdue. I think at this point, we kind of have to give Purdue credit. Do we want to give them credit? No, but they beat High Point. They beat a team like McNeese. Everybody had on the board. Shout out to my wife's friend Jen. She had them in the Final Four. But at the same time, I think there's a mutual respect between Kelvin Sampson and Painter and what he's built with Purdue with that program. So with Houston versus Purdue, who you got?
Yeah, and by the way, let's not forget Kelvin Sampson used to coach in the Big Ten against Matt Painter.
And it's Kevin. No, it's Kelvin.
Kelvin, yeah.
No. He did you
Kevin.
Hear?
No, it's Kelvin.
No, did you hear his recent press conference? Did you hear his recent press conference?
I did not.
So he got mad at a media member because they pronounced Gonzaga wrong. Somebody said Gonzaga, and he's like, it's Gonzaga. And he's like, I hate when people call me Kevin. It's Kelvin. It's like, come on, give me a break. Kelvin, Kevin, Sampson, I get it. Mark with a C or a K, wherever you decide. Drew, Ticket.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I mean, Houston is going to be my pick here. I think Purdue's strength is obviously their backcourt with Braden Smith, who's done an outstanding job. Mm-hmm. And by the way, Roosevelt Colvin's son also on the team.
Yeah.
As a swing forward, he's had a really nice season for Purdue. I think this is where Purdue's run ends. Houston is just – they've got the guards in the backcourt to defend Braden Smith.
Yeah.
And I think they get by Purdue fairly easily.
Yeah.
I think this might be a rout. I like Houston. And for Houston standards, because they don't play – and in a too quick of a pace of a game, I think Houston beats them by somewhere in the 8 to 12 point mark.
Yeah, so Houston is a defensive-minded team. Kelvin Sampson builds that, implements that defensive-minded set. And I think what you have to recognize with Kelvin Sampson is he's had a lot of success in the college ranks, right?
Yep.
And I think with what that comes is the ability to beat the Purdue's, beat the Gonzagas, beat a team where you're going to have to force an opportunity. Like Cryer dropped 30 against Gonzaga, right? But we got to see more out of the other guys. Like defensively, they are top 5 in the NCAAs by far. They allowed 60 points per game. But when it comes down to Purdue, I find them falling short because they just can't live up to that bargain playing against Houston. The Cougars have it. I think at the end of the day, Kelvin Sampson will find a way to help Houston come away with a victory. The number 2 seed, Tennessee, versus the number 3 seed, Kentucky.
Yeah, so all SEC matchup right here. Kentucky, with Mark Pope, obviously, they've had a really nice run, and they haven't been challenged too much. They blew out Troy, and then in the next round,
they haven't.
Didn't face much of an issue either. Tennessee was a Kai Ziegler, obviously Rick Barnes, who obviously the Providence ties as we know, but Rick Barnes, similar to Bruce Pearl, does not typically do well in this tournament.
No, he doesn't.
And Kentucky, honestly, like the way they're playing. They're loose. They're playing great defense. Their bigs, I think, will give Tennessee issues. And I think Kentucky pulls off the mini upset here. I like Kentucky to advance.
This is a hard one for me. It was kind of a toss-up looking at it because they are 2 really good teams, SEC teams. SEC,
yes.
Yes. Coach Pope I think he has a ceiling of approval for John Calipari's replacement, right?
Yeah.
And he's come in like nothing has changed. Kentucky finds a way. If not, you could make a case that he's done better so far with Calipari. I know Calipari's won championships at Kentucky. There's no doubt about it. But recently?
Yeah, they lost to Oakland last year as a 3 seed and that similar situation. They've been knocked out the last 3 times of the tournament by a non-Power 5 school.
Yeah. So something's got to give, right? But I really think that Kentucky has the makeup offensively and the ability with Kobe Brea and Otega Owe. Those guys are really good 1-2. I think they need another piece to help them because I think Tennessee, has a lot of good guards and they can expose them. But again, if you look at their Kentucky's win, they did play a tough Big Ten opponent in Illinois,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that helps moving forward versus teams that play, you could say, down opponents or underseeded teams like Purdue, for example, playing High Point and then McNeese. And then getting into the Sweet 16.
By the way, the Big Ten has been really good this tournament. So
Correct.
Illinois was a strong team, and people thought. By the way, Illinois, a lot of people had as kind of like a trendy pick to get into the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight.
Yeah. So I'm going with Tennessee. Surprise, surprise. West Region, the number 1 seed Florida versus the number 4 seed Maryland. This is a tough one, too. You got another Big Ten matchup versus SEC.
Yeah. So Florida, honestly, if it wasn't for, obviously the efforts of their point guard, Clayton, they would be at home right now, and UConn would be in this matchup.
Yeah.
UConn was on the doorstep of defending their national title, their back-to-back national titles, and keeping their hopes alive for a three-peat, which would have been unprecedented.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's last round. This is this round.
Yeah, focus on moving forward.
Yeah, I'm trying to move forward.
Yeah. Go.
Talking about it makes me want to grab another sip. I'm going to have another sip of my drink.
Tell Hurley to go to Cancun and chill out and ease up. He even said it. He's like, you know what? I love winning, but I need a break, right?
Yeah. Honestly, it's tax season is upon us. Charitable donation.
Masters.
Dan Hurley gave away
a
bid to the Sweet 16 to Florida. That's what he's going to put on his tax return.
He's going to put on his tax return. And then he's going to watch the Masters. He's going to play some golf, do what old guys do. Sorry for you.
Yeah. But going back to this matchup,
the
Crab 5, which might be one of the best nicknames I've heard in a while.
Fantastic.
I love Maryland in this matchup.
Oh,
love Maryland.
Upset in the making.
I think Maryland, I think I talked about it when we obviously had Clayton Shooter on last week, and that I thought Maryland was going to be a sleeper to make some noise, and I can't get off that. And why not? I mean, Queen had an unbelievable buzzer beater. Everyone's saying he might have traveled. Listen.
He did travel, but
count it.
Yeah.
Count it. It was a great game, by the way. Colorado State.
He did travel.
Unbelievable effort. But the Crab 5 in Maryland will be my pick to advance. Once again, similar to the BYU-Alabama matchup. Don't know what the point total is set to any of this one.
Yep.
But
I higher on that. I've been waiting to disagree with you. Florida is my favorite to win this tournament. I love that the way that they're playing ball this year. I believe they, coming off an SEC championship helps them. I believe in momentum. I believe in good coaching. And I feel like the way that they beat UConn, coming off 2 consecutive national championships, that's a hard opponent, right? And if you can come across and beat a team like UConn and then come in and play.
It was a down year, though, for you. I mean,
it was. But, hey, if we're calling it what it is, they are the back-to-back national champions, right?
They are.
So
they still are until someone else wins, by the way.
Regardless, live feed. Regardless of who UConn has on that team right now, they lost.
They did.
Right? Just like PC didn't make it to the tournament. It's definitely a punch in the back. But I really think that Florida is a team that you have to take seriously, especially going into the finals. Number 1 seed. I got Florida and Duke in the finals. I really do. Number 3 seed, Texas Tech versus the number 10 Arkansas Razorbacks that defeated Latino.
By the way,
on Saturday.
Shout out to me and John Tudor as well for picking that upset.
I did too.
Well, okay, so we're all on that upset.
Come on. Take it, leaving me out. All right. I see how it is. But I see how it is.
But yeah, that obviously, and it happened in our backyard there at the Amp in Providence.
It did. Great game.
Unbelievable game.
Great game.
Unbelievable game.
They let a lot happen. It was a physical game.
It felt like an old school Big East, which ironically enough, the Big East school did not come up with the win. But Calipari, Pitino, it lived up to the hype.
Yep.
Obviously, a lot of people I think were rooting for Pitino locally.
Yeah.
Nationally, Calipari is obviously not as well liked as Rick Pitino. But yeah, in this matchup, we're moving on. Arkansas just seems like they're going to be a tough out. And Texas Tech likes to play physical. And that's the Arkansas brand of basketball as
Yeah.
we've gotten to know over the first weekend.
Yeah.
They got Boogie Flan. They got John L. Davis in that backcourt.
Yep.
I like them to keep this streak going. I like both lower seeds in this West region.
I agree, but I think Thero's got to play.
Yeah, he does.
Thero hasn't played,
Adu
right?
Yeah.
Adu has been
Brazil
great.
has been really good defensively.
Brazil's
Unbelievable defensively.
Unbelievable. Rebounding, defense positioning, anticipation. I don't think a lot of people understand when they watch a game, you got to watch the anticipation of that defense. And the way Brazil works that, he's like the Draymond Green of that team.
He's the quarterback of the defense.
He's the quarterback of the defense, exactly. And I like Arkansas because they're a team of destiny right now.
Oh, you think so?
I do. I think that when you come into the tournament with low expectations as the number 10 seed, right, you have a chip on your back already. Calipari's like, they gave me a fucking 10 seed? Are you kidding me? I'm going in with a surge of vengeance. I'm going to show these guys what I'm made of. I'm no longer in Kentucky. I'm in Arkansas. I'm building a program. I'm building a winner. You can fully see the Elite Eight coming his way.
Plus,
Sweet 16.
It's fun
First.
to say Woo Pig Suey.
It is.
When I was walking around the dunk on Thursday
Yeah.
after the Arkansas-Kansas game,
Yeah.
every someone in Arkansas was like, Pig Suey, and they'd be like, woo, Pig Suey. It was the best.
Yeah.
Arkansas fans were great in Providence. So
Yeah, they're great.
You
You were there, so you know
Yeah.
more than I do. I felt the tickets were too expensive, but how much did you pay, if you don't mind me asking?
It was, well, we got them pre-sale. So
Preset.
One,
All right.
120 for a session.
Yeah. All right.
Not bad.
So, opening day, MLB is tomorrow. 2025 season's kicking off.
Perfect chance to use the Underdog app, by the way.
Yep.
If you like props, for example, if a guy named by the name of Carlos Rodon, who's the opening day starter for the Yankees, if you like rooting for the Yankees, that is, maybe look at his higher than
Can you tell he's
strikeouts.
a Yankees fan?
Oh, I don't know.
Holy smokes. The bartender over here was like, hey, take that hat off.
He goes, you got some shit on your hat.
Yeah, you got some shit on your hat.
Not the first time I've heard it. I knew exactly
exactly
what he was referring to.
So we're going to get into predictions. We're going to run through the different divisions, what we feel is the best team to come out of each division. We'll also talk about World Series matchups. We'll talk about MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and Manager of the Year. So I'll hand it off to you first for the AL MVP, and don't you fucking say Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge. And guess what? He doesn't. All right.
Yeah, it's gonna pay me to say this, but I'm actually going with another AL East player.
Yeah.
It's not Rafael Devers.
Nope.
No,
It shouldn't
it's
be.
definitely not.
Even though he's full-time DH, people. He's full-time DH. Alex Cora went on WEI today, had to say it for himself. He's a full-time DH. No longer a third baseman, so stop the rumors. And I'm actually one that kind of started the rumor.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Twitter.
you did get into it a little bit.
I did. But it's all right.
I'm actually going to go with a legitimate third baseman here, and Gunnar Henderson.
Okay.
For AL MVP pick. I hate to say it, but the Orioles have obviously a very, very good young core, and he's spearheading it.
Yep.
Last season, obviously 32 home runs, just shy of 100 ribbies. So one of the kind of unsung heroes of the home run derby as well was Gunnar.
He can mash it. He can
really
mash
rake.
it.
He can really rake. I think the Orioles are going to have a pretty strong season, as we're going to allude to in our picks. But I like Gunnar Henderson to continue to blossom as a player, and I like him to win AL MVP.
I wonder why he's picking Baltimore, because the Yankees are going to be bad.
Judge similar to Dan Hurley. He's won 2 MVPs.
Okay.
Now he's going to start sharing a little bit.
Okay.
Tax charitable donations.
Yep.
Let me give away an MVP this season.
Yeah, have fun with that. AL MVP for me is Corey Seager. I think Corey Seager may be one of the most underrated players in baseball. He has the ability to bat 300. He has the ability to hit 25 home runs and 100 RBIs. He plays great defense. He's on a real good team with a real good pitching staff, right? And they could be a high seed, coming into the MLB playoffs. And again, foreshadowing moment, I can definitely see the Rangers being in play for the AL West. So if we're talking Corey Seager, that dude's a gamer. He's a dirt dog. He plays well. He plays well in the field. He bats well. I'm going with Corey Seager to win AL MVP.
I assume we're going to the NL now?
We're going to the NL.
We're going to the NL.
Are you waiting for me? NL MVP. I see a familiar name there.
I'm going to go with a guy who's in his first year in the National League, and Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker is a guy who's finished top 5 in the AL MVP voting before.
Yep.
He's also won a Gold Glove.
Yep.
So obviously we know that he's capable of playing an elite defender as well as obviously a really good bat. I like to see what he's going to be doing in that NL Central specifically. Obviously, everyone knows about some of the nice young arms that they have in that division, Paul Skeens being one of them.
Yep.
But I think Kyle Tucker's going to put together a really strong year, once again, foreshadowing the success of maybe the team he plays on.
We got to stop doing that.
Yeah,
we got to stop doing that. Why are people going to watch this podcast? It's called a tease, right, on radio. It's called a tease on podcast. But when you actually give it away, witness. NL MVP, Dodgers outfielder, starting pitcher is Shohei Ohtani.
Really going out on a limb on that one.
I mean, it's consensus. The guy's unbelievable. He's an incredible pitcher. He throws 95. He probably had 200, close to 200 innings pitched, probably close to 200 strikeouts. He'll bat 300. He'll hit 40 home runs. I mean, how can you not? He's like the Babe Ruth of our time. I have to go with Shohei Ohtani winning again.
My only question to that would be, do you think at some point, maybe not this season because we want you to be right, but we also want me to be right. But maybe we could do
I like Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker, actually, I had
him on
place.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with consensus because I think Ticket's going to go Kyle Tucker.
Okay. So you knew what I was thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
Do you think at some point he becomes a victim of like LeBron James?
Yeah.
Or Bill Belichick when it came to the coaching in the NFL?
Yep.
Not that we want to give too much credit to that organization.
Yeah.
But it's the victim of the success. We're like, okay, like we know, we get it. You're that good.
Shohei Ohtani is that special. I don't think he'll ever give up on that. He wants to win at a high level. He will win at a high level, and he'll perform like he is the best baseball player in the world, and that's what he'll be. AL Cy Young.
I'm going to go with Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners.
I don't mind it.
The Mariners, by the way, last season statistically, 4 of their starting 5 pitchers were in the top 20 in terms of like efficiency, quality starts here, like every whatever the
category.
Baseball, a Billy Bean type stat.
Yeah,
that if you were
analytics.
an analytic nerd that you would appreciate.
Yeah, Moneyball.
But I think Logan Gilbert's going to anchor one of the the best rotation I think in the American League.
Yeah.
And I like, once again, perhaps teasing a little bit, something down the road in this segment. But
shut up, dude. We got to stop doing that. No, I'm playing. Offense for Seattle, this is where I think they're going to hurt. And I think they're going to find a way to lose games is because they don't have enough offense.
Right, they struggle.
They went out and tried to get Tristan Casas. And obviously, the Red Sox were too cheap and try to attach, Masataka Yoshida as like here's a party favor to take Tristan Casas. Yeah. Take him, please. Was it $85 million? No team's going to take that. So the Red Sox are, shameful for trying to do that.
I will say, to go off that point, Felix Hernandez once won a Cy Young with that team.
Yeah.
We saw years ago R.A. Dickey winning with a really bad Mets team.
R.A. Dickey, what a name.
And DeGrom, same thing. Winning 12 games, and that's where you talk about the stats when it comes to pitching.
Yeah.
But I think the Mariners are going to have potentially a decent year, and I think Logan Gilbert's going to be one of the reasons why. He's a frontline starter. I think this year he takes that leap from like very good to maybe Tariq Skubal level of like, all right, this guy's lights out, we can't hit him.
Well, there's a reason why they didn't trade him. They could have easily traded him for a bat. I know that was it Edward Garcia for the Mariners. He was waiting in the wings for the Red Sox to take him. Logan Gilbert was off the table, and they said, we're not going to trade either. For me, I'm going Garrett Crochet. Now, yes, everybody, you're wearing a Red Sox hat. I get it. No, this is the thing for me. He's no longer with the Chicago White Sox, right? He's got a decent bullpen, right? I'm saying decent. Anybody who thinks they are great, you're out of your mind. I think Garrett Crochet is waiting for the opportunity for him to shine in the season under the bright lights in a big market with the Cy Young Award possibly on the line, throwing 200 innings, maybe 180, depending on how they manage him. But he's also in a contract year. And when you have a guy coming in a contract year, I know he's got 2 years left on that contract, but this is a contract year for him because if the Red Sox have the ability to lure him in long term, he can be the ace of this staff. The offensive side of the ball, you got Bregman now, Story has to stay healthy, Devers, Duran, Tristan Costas. They are built, and they are young. Christian Campbell might be one hell of a player for the Red Sox, but when it's all said and done, the X factor, the catalyst to the Red Sox success attaches Garrett Crochet to that. Because if Garrett Crochet can find a way to win, say 18 wins, right, and throw 200 innings and throw 200 strikeouts with an ERA of sub-3, I got to give it to Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, what you just said is what I'm envisioning is one of my worst nightmares as a Yankee fan. But I do think Garrett Crochet he's got the potential to do everything you just said.
But just talk about baseball analysis-wise, right?
Yeah, like I said, he has the potential to do everything you just said.
Take off this, you know what I mean? Like, take off the Yankees hat and just I'll say it right now.
I just said I think Garrett Crochet can do everything that you just described.
I'll say it right now. Aaron Judge is one hell of a player.
That was very big of you.
You can do it for Garrett Crochet.
I just said it with the hat on, which shows that I'm a bigger man.
All right. So let's move on to NL Cy Young. Who we got for the NL Cy Young?
All right, this is where I'm going to go a little chalky. You can give me shit since I gave you shit for Ohtani. Yeah. I'm going to go with Paul Skeens.
Oh, yeah. How can you not?
Assuming he gets a full year under his belt, Paul Skeens. I mean, listen, this guy almost won Rookie of the Year, basically pitching for like a month and a half last season.
He should.
And also, he's got Livy Dunn in his corner, and I want Livy Dunn on my good side.
Yeah. Because she's watching right now.
Yeah, I don't really have a good side, Livy. But that's okay. You have two good sides.
Yeah, she's short.
Probably
she's
more,
short
but
for
I want to
Liv.
be respectful.
Yeah, she's short for Liv, by the way.
Oh, Liv. Yeah. You guys are on a first.
No, my wife's sitting here. Are you kidding me? Paul Skeens for me. Chalk it up. Every reason that you said.
This guy is the main reason. But,
this guy is special.
No, he is.
Check out my buddy Mike Eamon and Dallas Braden. They did it's like a pitching lab, and Paul Skeens walks them through how his mechanics are and how fast he can throw and the different pitches. He has like the splinker, the sinker, and the fastball. That's absolutely ridiculous. Please go check that out on YouTube. AL Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to go with Colt Keith of the Detroit Tigers.
Woo!
And I really wanted to say Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
But I think the issue with me saying that, besides, obviously the logo on the hat here, if I'm being real, Dominguez has had some injury concerns over the course of his career.
Yeah.
In the minors, and even when he got his first call up to the bigs,
he's got to earn his stripes.
He's got his first at bat, hit a home run against Justin Verlander.
Yep.
In second pitch, first at bat, took Verlander deep. Hall of Famer Justin Verlander in Houston, and that was a sign of things to come. It was the demise of the Houston Astros. I'm going to just say it right now. Not that it really was, but it was the first time the Yankees had seen something positive happen against the Astros.
Yeah.
But regardless, all that aside.
Hold on. But before you continue, what was the positive side for the Red Sox against the Astros?
Well, I mean,
it was Andrew Benattendi's diving catch.
Yeah, couldn't have been Alex
in the
Cora
AL
going their cheating ways and banging on the trash cans.
When's the last time you won a championship?
We won an AL championship a year ago.
We'll chalk that up as a win, I guess. So AL
Keith. AL Roy.
Take note. Cole Keith. AL Rookie of the Year for me is Tigers starting pitcher Jackson Jobe.
I like that pick.
Jackson, I feel like Detroit is a team that people kind of are sleeping on, right? AJ Hinch is there. They got Skubal. I really think that Jobe can be the 1B. I don't even think he's a number 2. I think we have to start giving him credit. I know he's young and he's immature in his ways in the MLB rankings, but he'll find a way to bring effort and have, I think, like a sub-3 RA, right? Maybe not 200 strikeouts like we've been saying with all these aces, maybe like 120 to 150 to start. And, be able to pitch at a high level with Detroit with possibly the playoffs on the line, wild card, division. Let's see what happens.
I like that pick a lot. And Job is one of the best pitching prospects in baseball.
Yeah.
And like you said, Detroit just seems to kind of fly under the radar and develop these arms.
Yeah. All right. So NL Rookie of the Year.
I'm going to go with Dylan Cruz, another Paul Skeens' teammate at LSU. Had a lot of success there in winning a national title. Cruz got the call up last year, kind of struggled, and then broke down late. But I like guys that get that taste late in the year and then able to. All right, what did I learn? You learn. Okay, this is what the bigs are like. Cruz was one of the top 5 picks in the draft at the time. He rose to the minors quickly. Great defensive player. He can flash everything. True 5-tool talent. And this is a Nationals team, by the way, that they made a lot of moves, obviously trading arms. James Wood is another guy I kind of like sneaky in this category, too. They just have a nice young core. I'm very curious to see how they develop. But I'm going to go with Dylan Cruz for my pick.
Okay. I got Matt Shaw. Shaw of the Cubs. I feel like he'll fit nicely with Kyle Tucker. I know Kyle Tucker is new to that system. Matt Shaw is new. They'll grow together. And I think that's like a very mature state with Matt Shaw and his capability to play third base at a high level. I'm not talking like 300 batting average. It's more like maybe 270.
He's going to slug.
But he's going to slug. He's going to probably hit 40 home runs, 35 to 40. Maybe 40 is too high. We'll give him 30 to 35. Take note of that.
It is Wrigley.
But it is Wrigley. Yeah, it's a very friendly, home run friendly ballpark. A close second for me is Sasaki, right? Sasaki, I feel like, he's low on the list when it comes to betting odds through Vegas, but I think where you have to understand with Sasaki is they have such good pitching on that team that he doesn't need to overly do it and get to that NL Rookie of the Year status. So he's going to be like a 3-starter, 4-starter, whatever it may be. But I can fully see him being a very close second with NL Rookie of the Year.
For a second, I thought you said Saki, and I was like, Shark. We're at
Sasaki.
We're at Ravenous Brewing. There's no Saki here.
No, Sasaki. AL Manager of the Year.
I'm going to go with Dan Wilson of the Mariners. And I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. Honestly, I was going back and
I'm going to drink.
I was going back and forth a little bit between Dan Wilson and another manager that I think you might have picked for this one. So I'm going to let you take over here.
Yeah, I got AJ Hinch.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Detroit Tigers did a hell of a job getting this guy. They're going to put together a really good pitching staff.
See, the Astros actually got rid of him, and then he served his time, unlike the Red Sox, where they kept Cora, even though he was a scumbag and was cheating.
Well, I mean, cheating, how far do you want to go? Smashing trash cans.
Carlos Beltran lost his job at the Mets.
Yeah, smashing trash cans, take what it is. But with AJ Hinch, I think what he brings is like a veteran, experienced coach, right, who's won a World Series. He's a guy that, the young guys can look up to, like Screwball and Job, and like Riley Green smashing the ball in spring training. So this guy is a heavy prospect. He is in the MLB now, as we know, but he's going to hit probably 30 home runs, right?
Batting around last year.
Bat around 280. He's a guy that you can fully see being a huge weapon. So I really like Detroit. Some of the other teams maybe in the mix, right? Maybe Rocco Baldelli with the Minnesota Twins. Shout out to him, Rhode Island native.
Cumberland, Rhode Island. Which is where we are.
And my wife's from there. Shout out to Cumberland.
There you go.
So let's move on to the NL manager.
This is going to be tough. I'm going to go with Craig Counsell with the Chicago Cubs. For some of the reasons you mentioned with Matt Shaw, but I really liked what the Cubs have built this offseason, bringing in Tucker.
Yeah.
They got Shaw. Obviously, they got Amaga. They're returning Steele and Tyon in the rotation. I think the Cubs are set up for a nice season.
Yeah, I got Greg Counsell too. Counsell's coming over from Milwaukee, right? I feel like he had a bad taste in his mouth leaving there, and he wanted to.
They could never get over the hump.
Yeah, they couldn't get over the hump, and he wanted a contract extension, and the Cubs gave him it. I think he's from Milwaukee, right? Wasn't he born and raised in Milwaukee? So, I mean, bad taste in his mouth going to Chicago, but he's going to use that as an opportunity for revenge. And watch out, MLB. Greg Counsell's coming for your ass. So let's talk about the division winners. The AL East. The AL East winners. Go ahead. I already know who you're selecting.
I'm going to go with the New York Yankees. And listen, this is not a surprise to many people, and it's not a surprise because they're so good.
Please stay on the feed, people. Please stay on the feed.
Listen,
We're still live.
Everyone wants
ticket. We're live.
Everyone wants to write them off because Garrett Cole's out, and then defending Rookie of the Year Luis Gil is out.
Luis Gil. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
All right. Tell me. Make your statement.
They've invested in pitching.
Okay.
They have Max Fried, who I think is going to be capable of having a Cy Young type season.
He's a 2.
You have Carlos Rodon,
he's a 4.
Who last season was healthy, was a Bulldog, ate a lot of innings. You got Clark Schmidt, who's going to come back from an injury. Before Clark
is
Schmidt
that
got
Mike
hurt,
Schmidt's great grandchild?
I don't know if there's any relationship with Mike Schmidt.
Probably not.
But I tell you what, Clark Schmidt's a better pitcher than Mike Schmidt ever was.
I agree.
Because Mike Schmidt couldn't pitch, so by default, he's better.
You're right.
You're right. 16 starts last year. He had a sub-3 ERA, whip of 1.1. Mm-hmm. Schmidt was a former first-round pick by the Yankees. Yep. They've kept him. They didn't trade him when they had the chances to. I think if Schmidt's healthy, he's going to kind of fill in a little bit of that missing link. Also, you got Marcus Stroman, who I think will step up. He doesn't need to do too much. Marcus, we just need you to be the 5 starter. They got Will Warren, who's been a prospect in their system for a while. And listen, the fact of the matter is the Yankees will put up runs. They don't need their pitching to be elite. They just need guys to stay healthy and eat innings. They're going
to average 8 runs a game.
They don't need that many. They don't need as little as the Mariners, but they don't need as many as 7 or 8 like the Dodgers will probably score by the 3rd inning in most of their games. Listen, impactful lineup. Austin Wells at catcher, everyday catcher. Austin Wells was slugging. I think he's going to be a silver slugger potential at the catcher position.
It could be.
You got Anthony Volpe, who will continue, I think, to progress. You return Jazz Chisholm. You bring in Cody Bellinger. Paul Goldschmidt will find the fountain of youth at first base because anything was better than Anthony Rizzo. And then you got Devin Williams, who I'm a little bit skeptical how this works out. But between him and Luke Dreamweaver, they'll be fine. I got the Yankees winning the AL East because, listen, the Red Sox already alienated their franchise player in Rafael Devers. Yep. The Orioles don't have pitching.
Yeah.
So Toronto's Toronto. They're going to sell off Vlad and Bo.
Let me ask you this. If everything goes well, everything that you're saying, there's health, there's a lot of –
everything goes well.
Yeah, analytics-wise, strikeouts,
Jason Dominguez,
good pitching.
Rookie of the Year.
Dominguez, Rookie of the Year. You said Gunnar Henderson was going to win AL MVP.
Right, I did say that.
So I thought you would choose Baltimore.
No.
But, okay. With the Yankees, so how many wins do they get?
We're going to go low 90s. We're going to say 90. It's going to be a competitive division.
Holy smokes.
93. 93.
Oh, my God. What a homer pick. People, this is baseball analytics here. I'm giving you factual evidence, okay?
I said facts. Clark Schmidt's numbers were facts.
But the fact that Luis Gil is out.
Yes.
Cole is out.
Yes.
Like, that explains them going 80,
that's a lot of wins that are missing. Yes, I understand.
83 to 87.
No. This is the New York Yankees we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking the Yankees. Well, we're about to talk to the Red Sox. So
not a homer pick.
Not a homer pick. Not at all. The Red Sox in the past, if you look at all my podcasts, I have been down on the Red Sox. I think this year you have to become a believer. Here's the reason. You have a veteran team and you have young guys and you have a good starting rotation. And, Garrett Crochet is going to throw incredible innings and strikeouts. You got Tanner Houck, who may have a good year. We don't know what we've seen in the spring training. He's let up a lot of earned runs. Walker Buehler has experience in the World Series, but he had a really bad year. I think it was a 5 ERA with the Dodgers.
He's also been injury prone.
He's been injury prone. So I'm being semi-realistic here because if you look at the way that they're built offensively, Christian Campbell's filthy. John Duran's going to be a money maker at the top of that batting order. You got Alex Bregman, Devers, Tristan Casas. Rafaela is so underrated as an outfielder and a great hitter. He's been raking it in spring training. The Red Sox right now I have at 91 and 71. 91, I feel like, is not the most outlandish pick. I feel like the way that they're constructed, Alex Cora finally got belief from the front office and management to buy now into this team. Trevor Story, hopefully healthy, coming back from injury. You got to have the young guys kind of work their way in. Christian Campbell is so talented that they want him to start at second base this year, which I'm a little bit putting a pause to that. I don't necessarily think that's the best move. It could gradually work in itself, but Roman Anthony's going to get called. Marcelo Mayer is going to get called at some point. And
Oh yeah, I saw he hit against that team in Mexico.
yeah, great home run.
Yeah, not a big league club, but yeah, it's still, at
Hey.
least Marcelo Mayer did something.
Hey, at least we have one, maybe two, maybe three top prospects in all of baseball. So I believe that the Red Sox are built now to last, and they're built for the future. So I really think that the front office did a hell of a job getting Alex Bregman and having that protection for Rafael Devers and Tristan Casas. And Casas is on a contract year. Vladimir Guerrero could be in the works later on in the offseason. I know Blue Jays want to get a contract done before the start of the year. They're talking right now as we speak. Who knows? There might be breaking news. But with Vlad, he'll be a nice addition. But with Tristan Casas, he can bat 270, 280. Probably hit 20 home runs, if not maybe 25. But you're expecting guys to develop. You're expecting guys to show up. The guys that were injured last year, like Casas, like Story. Red Sox 91 and 71. Signed, sealed, deliver, AL East winners.
Well, now that we both got that out of the way,
AL Central. This will go a lot faster.
Detroit Tigers.
Detroit Tigers.
They got the reigning Cy Young winner in Tariq Skubal. They're adding Jackson Jobe, who we talked about, potential Rookie of the Year.
Riley Green.
Riley Green, obviously. But the other big addition to the rotation that's not talked about is getting Casey Mize back healthy. He was the number one overall pick a few years ago.
Great guy.
Flashed the potential at times of being that number one pick. He was a consensus guy, not as highly thought of as Skeens, but he's flashed the potential once before.
Right.
I think throwing him in the bottom of your rotation, getting him eased back in with Jobe.
It helps.
With Skubal. You got Olsen.
Yep.
Riley Green, obviously. I talked about Colt Keith in that lineup as well.
Watch out. The Tigers might be a force.
And I really like obviously the manager we talked about already with Hinch.
Yep.
Probably the best manager in that division. So I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, everything that I said in the beginning and just what you alluded to. But it comes down for me, A.J. Hinch has been there and done that. He's won the World Series. He can build a rotation. He has good offense around, at least okay offense to get them by, right? And I think the pitching staff can get them to 88 wins on the season. So I have them at 88 wins. AL West, I'll start. I got the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a very good team. I know that they aren't as strong as they were in the past from a pitching perspective, but I think Nathan Eovaldi, can definitely add to the mix. They're like two or three guys in that rotation that you can flat out say could be there, done that. But Corey Seager, he's going to fulfill that middle of the lineup. Do they have Marcus Semien?
Still got Semien.
Yeah, they still have Semien. So
John.
Yep, John
Wyatt Langford.
Yeah, Langford's a good name, right? So I believe that the Texas Rangers will win 87 wins. I got the Rangers winning the AL West.
I'm one of the Seattle Mariners. I talked about it earlier, alluding to with they got the Cy Young winner, potential manager of the year with Dan Wilson. Listen, their rotation 1 through 5 as good as anyone in the leagues, even without George Kirby. Andres Munoz is one of the best lights-out closers in the game and has been under the radar last few years.
He is.
We talked about earlier. They don't score a lot of runs. If they can get to 3 to 4 runs a game, they're never out of a game.
Correct.
And if J-Rod, if he picks up from where he left off a few years ago, is looking like one of the future faces of the league.
Yeah.
I really like his potential to possibly be an MVP candidate, carrying that offense. He's going to need some help. They're going to need a little bit of help offensively. Cal Raleigh obviously doesn't hit for high average, but he's been a reliable part of their lineup. He can hit some bombs. Yeah. But I like the Mariners in the AL West.
Tough ballpark, though. Tough ballpark offensively. And that's why Casas might be a little bit happy that he's not going to Seattle because good luck trying to perform there. The NL East, the Phillies for me. I look at Bryce Harper. I look at Trey Turner. They obviously have a real good pitching staff. And what I got to focus on, too, is Dave Dombrowski likes to spend money. And he likes to build a winner. He doesn't waste time. He likes to find a way to make things happen. I like the Phillies winning this division. I know the Mets is probably a favorite for a lot of people, with They have Juan Soto, and I'm blanking on the other guy, Francisco Lindor. But I'm going to have to give it up to the Phillies, and they're going to win 93 wins.
So that division is absolutely loaded. We talked about obviously the Mets, the Phillies,
Yep.
and now we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves because the Braves are returning former MVP Ronald Acuna. They will get back Spencer Strider, who was a Cy Young candidate before he went down last season.
Yep.
Obviously, they have the reigning Cy Young winner in Chris Sale. Ronaldo Lopez was absolute stud last year, was an all-star.
Yep.
So they have a lot returning to that rotation if they can stay healthy. On top of that, you added Juckerson Profar to the top of their lineup.
Yep.
With the healthy Acuna, with Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Michael Harris, Ozuna. I mean, is any offense that can the Dodgers obviously have a great lineup.
Yep.
The Phillies have a great lineup. The Braves, assuming Acuna stays healthy, they are right up there and potentially could be better with them if they all. Profar was unbelievable for the Padres last year. He repeats that success. Him and Acuna at the top of that lineup is going to be powerful. I like the Braves.
Yeah, I do like the Braves. I think Sale is going to be a key factor, too, if he can be that number 3 pitcher.
Just stay healthy.
Yeah, he just has to stay healthy. All right, so the NL Central, right? So who do you have for NL Central?
I got the Cubs, not the sexiest rotation on paper, some would say, but statistically, they eat innings.
Yeah.
Steele, Tyon, we talked about earlier.
Yeah, James and Tyon, yeah.
They got guys. We talked about a potential NL Roy with Matt Shaw.
Yep.
You got Kyle Tucker. They added Ryan Presley to the
Ryan
back of the
Presley's
rotation.
great bullpen piece. Yep.
So
from Astros.
Yep, exactly. So I think the Pirates are a potential sleeper, but they might be a year away.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about Paul Skeens. We talked about them. They got Brian Hayes and O'Neill Cruz. Brian Reynolds, McCutcheon obviously is still there as the clubhouse guy, the blue guy.
Yeah, he's chilling.
But a name to look for them is Bubba Chandler as well. The Pirates could be a little frisky, but I do like the Cubs to win the division.
Yeah, I got the Cubs too. Everything that I said in the beginning, I think Greg Counsell's coming out with a surge of vengeance. He's saying, screw the Brewers for doing this to me. They went out and got a guy like Kyle Tucker. When you make a move to get a guy like Kyle Tucker, you're trying to go all in. Ryan Presley, as you mentioned, a great addition. Shaw, everything that you said, absolutely. I got the Cubs at 88 wins. The NL West is tough. I got to go Dodgers.
You're not going to Colorado Rockies?
No, not Colorado. Colorado's a tough sled. I look at the Dodgers and I say, what can't they do, right? And they found a way to win last year. They're continuing to find a way.
They might not be able to play basketball.
Yeah, maybe.
Magic Johnson's still there, though. Right?
Yeah, Magic Johnson's in the front office. He's the ownership. He's the guy that can last.
So maybe they could play basketball.
They can. Dodgers go win 103 games. 103 games. They're going to hit over the century mark. I think a big key component right now, though, is Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts,
he's going through it
he's lost, 10 pounds, 20 pounds
He says
now?
he can't eat anything without holding it.
A sickness is going around, and stay away from me, Mookie, because they were in Japan recently.
Yeah.
So who knows? But with Mookie, health is obviously a big factor. Freddie Freeman can hit lights out. They have a great pitcher rotation. Tyler Glasnow is back into the mix. There's nothing that this team has there's no weakness. There is no weakness on this team. Dave Roberts is a hell of a manager. 103 wins. Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah, Dodgers, I don't really need to give much of a reason.
No.
They added Sasaki. They added Blake Snell, Tanner Scott. The rich got richer. You got Glasnow coming back healthy you just talked about.
Yeah.
It's just not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
That being said,
World Series matchup and winner. Who do you got?
So I know they just won a world championship in football, but I'm going to go with the Phillies.
Ooh.
The city of brotherly love might be the city of champions.
I like it.
Listen, the Phillies window's closing soon.
Yep.
They had a lot of stars that are in the kind of approaching the back line of their career. But listen, they added Max Kepler, which I think is really going to free up a lot of things for their lineup.
Alex Brown.
They added Jesus Luzardo.
Yep.
Had a great year with the Marlins last season.
Yep.
So their rotation. So you add him, obviously, to the mix with Wheeler and Nola.
Yep.
You have Alec Boehm.
Yep.
Trey Turner, Harper, Schwarber. Castellanos, JT Realmuto, all guys that are, like I said, kind of approaching the back nine or in the back nine, but still have
A lot of juice.
They do.
A lot of juice. It's like a dying phone that just wants to keep on going, right?
Yeah.
And good example could be like the 2013 Red Sox, right?
I don't know if that'd be a good example.
With Mike Napoli, for you not, Mike Napoli, Johnny Gomes, Shane Victorino.
I've never seen a guy take more credit for a championship though, who hit like below the
Johnny
Mendoza line.
Than Johnny Gomes.
Yeah, 11-0, and I'm in the lineup.
He kicked his helmet, punted it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? He was a glue guy. You have to have glue guys on your team. Right?
You have to have the jackass of the locker room.
You do.
And Johnny Gomes was your jackass.
Kevin Millar was our
Nick
also
Swisher
jackass.
was our
Nick Swisher.
Jackass. But I love Swisher.
Yeah.
You love the jackass.
You love the jackasses, yeah. For me, I got the Dodgers. I got the Dodgers defeating the Rangers. I think the Rangers are a team that some people, I guess, underestimate going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, going into the playoffs too. Like they'll win their division, but they won't win a lot of games. But they'll find a way to.
Seager against his former team would be interesting, and that's
correct.
A good storyline.
Yeah, so I definitely like the Dodgers defeating the Rangers. All right. This is a surprise. I did not have this planned. 5 questions.
Ooh.
We're going to do a real quick 5 questions. Right. We have a little bit of time left. So, Ticket.
Yes.
What's your go-to pizza?
Oh, man. I would say a traditional – it's going to be boring. Traditional marg from the Napa Don region.
Okay. All right, got it. I got it. Yeah, I'm a thin crust guy, right? New Haven style.
Yep.
I gotta go pepperoni and mushroom.
Okay.
I know the mushroom is kind of a surprise. A lot of people just like to stick with the pepperoni, throw a little honey on it too.
Oh,
but the pepperoni,
is that
and
pepperoni mushroom?
Oh, we got it. I'm bringing it into
there you go. Oh, I got the dog going.
Yep. We got the dog in the background, and we got a nice pepperoni and mushroom pizza. I'm not going to lie, I kind of set that up. I thought that they would have pepperoni and mushroom, so thank you, boys.
Well done.
This is great.
Well done.
Yeah.
That was great.
So, yeah, mushroom, pepperoni, yep.
There you go.
So as far as March Madness goes, right, are you more of a paper guy from back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Or are you more of the app?
Oh, paper guy.
Yeah.
You print out the paper. Even going back to when I was first started working.
It's phenomenal, by the way.
You got the corporate job. I remember CBS Sportsline used to have the boss button, where it was just a made-up Excel sheet.
Yeah.
But even then, I would, go to the office printer, print it out, and then have the work bracket going. So, big paper guy, paper and pencil guy. How can you not?
Grew up in the 90s, 2000s. How many times do we say this on the podcast? But I got to go with the paper because, and it brings me back, too, if you think about it, right? The way you played fantasy football back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. You got the positions, on the side. You rank the players. You go off the sheet that
you have those stickers,
the
draft
stickers.
Boards.
Yeah. I mean, you still have it.
Yeah,
some people participate. We got the draft board right there, the bracket.
Yeah.
Here at Ravenous Brewing Company. But I got to take credit for the paper because, it's all about finding a way to make it nostalgic, right? Technology these days, as we know, we're live streaming. We got the pod happening, right? Everybody's checking us out. But I think what gets lost is the, originality. The, making the brackets, putting the names on it. Did you write in the names?
Of course.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah.
That was something you look forward to. And seed. But I look at it because my dad had it, against the fridge. And he would put it right onto the calendar. And we would update the bracket after the rounds the next day.
Get the highlighter.
The highlighter, or you could do, the cross out, white it out, wherever you decide. But I love the paper format moving forward. I wish we could go back to it because it was fun.
My buddy's dad, who's here, came for the broadcast. He still does the pen and paper. He grades it old school. He doesn't have it online.
Mm-hmm.
He grades it himself. Now, granted, that might be why he's won the last couple years.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to say that. We're not going to count it against him.
It's rigged?
Yeah. No, I've actually won it 2 of the last 3.
Oh, good. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
You know, do you think you're going to win this year's?
Really, it depends on how far the Cougars go.
Yeah.
And Maryland, the Crab 5.
And Maryland.
Crab 5.
With the transfer portal, it's like free agency for any league,
Yes.
right? Was there 800 players now in the transfer portal? Guys are going left to right. Sanan just signed with the St. John's Red Storm with Patino.
Even the McNeese State manager was in the transfer portal.
Yeah, NC State, right? But with Patino, he's trying to spend $5 million now and include Bryce Hawkins from the Friars to St. John's. I know Georgetown's trying to get into the mix too with Bryce
Cooley.
And Ed Cooley, yeah.
Patches.
So let me ask you this: do you like the transfer portal?
It's got to be regulated. It's the wild, wild west right now. And there's been the narrative too this week that like NIL's been killing like the Cinderella teams.
Yeah,
that's not true. I mean, like, a year ago it was upset Central.
Yeah.
So I mean, not that much has changed. I do think there needs to be some regulation in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's too crazy right now, and you look at a lot of these schools that like some of these kids are transferred. They're going from these smaller schools and getting a chance to play. Listen, the NCAA can't be the only ones making money off these kids.
Right.
The universities can't be the one making money off these kids. I'm all for them making some money, but it has to be regulated better.
Okay, I tend to agree with you, but here's my thing, right? I think the transfer portal is nice to have because guys that come from smaller schools have the ability to go to bigger schools, make a name for themselves, and then find a way to get in the draft rankings, draft prospects, mock drafts, and then they can potentially get drafted into the NBA. The reason why I don't like it is because it's becoming a money pool, right? And I understand NIL made that, right? But if you look at it, and I use 2 examples today with my colleague, Peyton Pritchard and Devin Carter, right? Those guys, Peyton Pritchard stayed at Oregon, right? And then Devin Carter left South Carolina to go to Providence College, right? So I kind of tend to look at that as not a bad thing, but there are some limitations that they have to figure out regulations in order to make this happen. So how was your drink?
Oh, fantastic. 5 out of 5. We'll have another one.
Yeah, unbelievable. 5 out of 5, definitely.
I actually can't wait to wrap up so I can.
And how fun was this tonight?
This is great. And we got to thank, obviously, Shark, but also Ravenous Brewing for having us here.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Justin, for making this happen. Everyone tune in next week to episode week 114. We're at 114. Holy smokes. We're on 113 right now. We appreciate everyone taking the dive. We'll tune in next week. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, guys.